Good morning. How's everybody doing? Switching up again this morning. There's been two sides to this argument. I presented both sides myself. I've given you reflections, even if you don't realize it yet. If you somehow managed to watch all the videos, which none of you have yet, then you'll see a deeper mindset at play through all of this. They have these programs. I watched this program recently where they took the Bible, right? And they just connected how the verses connected to each other. And there's like this half a rainbow where these have correlations to this, and you look at it. It's a huge book, and all these interconnected things. This thing goes with that thing, and this thing goes with that thing. And over here, these things connect to this, and because of this word here, then it connects over to that parable over there. And like, it's very interesting, the patterns of it, the words that are expressed, and what words are used the most, and what lessons are the most important. There's a cheat sheet that they've created for the Bible itself. So if you don't want to listen to the dogma, but you want the lessons are there as well. Did you know that? I'm pretty sure they did it with a computer. I bet they did. Enter keywords, see where the things are, scan the text. I could see how they could do it, but you could do it by hand. You go, no, you couldn't. Well, listen, when they wrote the Bible, they created the story. Whether you want to say they're doing documentation, it doesn't matter. But they wrote it, and our computers just confirmed that it's really interconnected. That's weird, right? Super interconnected. It would have taken a lot of intelligence beyond just, some scholars or some people, some scribes. It took a level of intelligence that we need computers to use and understand now. You ever think about that? There was a human being, at least one, and maybe a multitude of them, that understood life to such a degree that they wrote a book that has thousands of interconnected references between the pages. Thousands. It's a good chess game. How do you think they did that? How do you think those people got smart enough to understand how things go together? How do you think that they studied hard enough? Where's the books so you can get the lessons to understand how to put words and thoughts together like that? It's so weird. There's so many things that the ancients could do that we can't, and we call ourselves way better off. But how do you think that some group of people, or maybe you want to be like me and accredit it to probably one person that was smart enough to make that many references over that much information? You would need a computer nowadays to do it. People don't even have the concept that that's possible. Show me your math equation that equals that out. Show me. You show me the pattern now with your current math that it happened, but where's your calculable math that allows you to create like that? Where can you create a solid idea? You can't say that comes from God. They have an exact number of references that cross-reference. There's a number, a quantifiable number of exactly how many times it was done in one piece of literature. How was that done? By other than super, super smart people. We talk about people ahead of our time, but that that's a level of sophistication that no historian, no math person, no science person, nobody equates with truth in regards to the people of that time. How? Anybody ever thought about that? People always explain it to God because God gets, or the devil gets responsibility for everything that they can't explain. It's magic, voodoo. Now we understand that science does a lot more, so we're really hesitant to call anything magic because we could probably figure out why it's happening. You know what's funny though with the why it's happening? You can explain to me what a molecule is and how it interacts with everything, but you can't make a water molecule. You can't make more water. You can't make more dirt. You can make a substrate, but you can't make actual dirt. And if the two building blocks that make up our entire planet you can't recreate, I'm not too impressed with the science behind your explanations. It's weird that people are always trying to explain anything, but they can't duplicate anything they can explain. They never throw into science when they tell you a mathematical or chemical formula that that's how it works based on reality. It's not them playing God at all. They're just explaining what's already here. They're getting a better understanding of why it is. But it's really just the action reaction of what they're able to observe. They're not actually able to create the situation that creates the action reaction stably, forever, indefinitely. Sure, you can get a nuclear reactor to pop off and try to act like a star for a second, but no one's been able to stabilize a star in the atmosphere, have they? There's a reason behind this. And it's not that I know the answers. Who says I'm intelligent? Besides myself, you know? And to me, intelligence is just being able to learn. It doesn't mean I'm smart. It means I'm being able to learn. You can be as smart as you want and way smarter than me in any subject you want to pick. But can you learn the other 10 subjects that I understand? And the other 20 that I'm currently learning? Do you have the intelligence to learn? That's what intelligence is. Just being able to learn, comprehend things. And this brings me to the point of the video, despite all the rambling and the fact that you should have watched all the videos before this one, before you cheated and tried to like skip in line, is isolation. The concept of isolation, the idea of being alone. First off, it's impossible. And I don't mean from like a human standpoint. You absolutely should, in my opinion, isolate yourself as a human being from time to time. However, it's impossible to truly isolate. There's worms in the ground, birds in the air, there's electricity everywhere you go. There's other elements of things that affect your magnetic fields. You go magnetic field. Listen, I'm just going off of science. I don't have time for the mysticism. I don't have time for the bullshit. I don't have time for people's pretends that they use to like cope with the fear. There's energy fields around you at all times, and they affect your energy field all the time, constantly. You know, the 5G and all that other bullshit, it's a real science. It's just, it's not something that destroys us, not in the short term, and not in a way that we have deemed as a society to be bad. If we say it's good, it's good. It's been society forever. It doesn't matter about the morality, anything. The mass consensus makes the decision. Everybody has to think it's bad before anybody does anything about it. And then it becomes a fad. And then they turn it into a fad, drive it into the ground. So it's just a memory. But being isolated, being willing to sit with yourself. I think it's the most important thing that you can do for yourself ever, no matter what. I don't think you have a better tool. And I'll give you some examples. I wanted to give you some really good examples of how you yourself can isolate and sit down and see if you like yourself. It's easy to like yourself when you're doing something for others or you're anything. You're defending yourself. You're having a good day. It's really easy to think good of yourself. But the second things go bad or you do some fucking stupid shit and you didn't realize it, you just reacted instead of thinking about it and being in action. There's just all this shitty things. And you know what we do? We just forget them. Fuck what I did yesterday. Today I'm doing good. I don't think it goes away. I think the thought you had and the sadness you had and the feelings you had, you still have. If you think about that situation again, do you still feel the same way? Maybe a little bit less because time's gone on, but you still feel it, don't you? You still have that sense of injustice or wronged or. But if you don't think about it, it doesn't matter. I think that's what isolation is so important because if you can't sit with yourself and be comfortable, I mean, no relationship. I'm not telling you to quit your job and sell everything you own and go live on the streets yet. I'm not saying that that's a requirement to fix your life yet. I think it would be impossible for you to gain these mindsets. And as a last step, go out and become a humanitarian. Which is, if you don't own anything and you're not obligated to things, then you can help other people. And you say money helps other people, well, they print money. So, how's that help anyone? How does you taking 8 hours out of your day to save up money to help somebody once a month better than you being able to help people 7 days out of the month? And the rest of the time you take care of your necessities. You see what I mean? Like, it's a sliding scale. It's how much you think you should contribute to the situation. But I think it's all based on isolation. I think that the more time you have to actually think, the less life gets you down. I think the more time you have to spend reacting to things happening to you, the less time you have to process it or heal from it or deal with it or grow from it. I think that's the trick. I think that's what the biggest weapon to keep humanity is keep you on a cycle of reacting. Here's a job. I have to react to what's happening at the job all day long. I get home, I have to react to the kids and the wife or whatever, whoever you're married to, whatever dynamic you have at home. Who cares? Nobody cares. I would keep saying that in so many videos. Nobody gives a fuck. Anybody that gives a fuck is a clown. And if you don't laugh at clowns, if you're scared of clowns, well, I'm going to teach you how to make balloon animals. You can get over it. But isolating. And you say, well, how much are you isolated? Let me tell you. I've isolated. In fact, twice now. Twice now. It's the weirdest thing when you think about time. These set of experiences. There's been two set of experiences that spanned 5 years total in which I had to sit still. And both times in those 5 year processes, I had to sit totally alone. The first 5 year chunk was way worse. I think I did something like 17 months in solitary confinement. 6 months spent. The second 5 year block, it's been different but the same. Because the first 5 years when I actually was locked up, no one cared. And I don't blame anyone. Who I was before I got locked up was terrible as a human being. And I'm really grateful I got locked up because no one died. You understand? And I don't have that on my conscience. And I don't have the terroristic mindset that I had before I went to prison. Like, I'm not that person. So that first year, 5 years of isolation, I feel like the universe was giving you all a break. Isn't that weird? I got locked up for a good reason. Not because I hurt women and children, because I'll tear down society and fucking go after grown men like it ain't nothing. Cowboy up. It was a very destructive mindset to have. And it took 5 years of isolation and an awful lot of self reflection that I did not want to do and literally had to be stuffed into a box to accept. Isolation. 23 hours a day in a 6x9 cell. Nobody to talk to. That's real isolation. You know what I did? I wrote a bunch of poetry. Once I got through all the crying, and then I started a fantasy adventure novel. Oh, I'm writing the greatest fantasy adventure novel you ever read. I promise. I have the whole world. I've already got, like, it could be a video game and a franchise. Like, you could take this idea and run with it to a level that I'd make the people. I don't know if you play RPGs, and I don't know if you play like Elder Scrolls or Diablo or any of these other ones, but every one of those people, every player in the world come running with their biggest axe at my game, I promise. Oh, they go in. You lose a part of the whole population of the world if my game ever got created, because I promise people would just lose their shit. And first, I got to finish the books. First, I have to write the first story in the world so people understand the world exists. And then once they understand the world exists, oh, they're going to want to play. And that's one of the things I'm going to do in my life at some point. It's one of the long term projects I'm working on. But isolation. I found my passion in isolation. I also got real serious about deciding on who I wanted to be and what I was going to stand for. And so I stood for what gave me trauma in life. Dirty, no good men, or pieces of shit, and hurt children. And for the 5 years that I was stuck in the box, I terrorized motherfuckers that hurt kids. I didn't really terrorize the guards. Of course, I didn't really care what they had to say. But I was locked up. In that 5 years, I learned some really important lessons, and I'm going to share one with you right now, and I hope you never have to learn it for yourself. You're born alone and you're going to die alone. When you go to prison, you go to prison by yourself. When you leave the walls, if you make it out, you leave the prison by yourself as well. When you face your parole officer, it's you that's on parole. And when you finally finish, it's you that's responsible for your own life after dealing with the consequences of your own actions. That's what the first round of isolation taught me, that I was alone. And that I fucking did not like who I was. I'm still on isolation right now. I'm in a 5 year bubble. It's almost over. It might be just a few days after 5 years, which means everything's going to change again, because that's the cycle. Everything changes within your life, even the cells in your body every 5 years. Or maybe it's 7 years. Fuck, I might sound like an idiot right now. It might be every 7 years, all the cells in your body regenerate. And so all the dead ones are gone. So technically, literally, you're not even who you were in a real sense. And in this last 5 years of isolation, it's weird because the first 5 years was a reflection of what I hated. These last 5 years of isolation have been a reflection of what I love. I spent these 5 years falling back in love with myself as a human being and who I am and what I'm about, what I've always been about, and how I've always been. And there's been plenty of reasons why I haven't been myself. And there's been plenty of excuses that I've made over the years as to why things were happening in my life. But when I finally realized that in isolation, not only did I love myself, but I loved the isolation I was in. It became paradise for me. That the very thing that last time made me look at myself, this time in looking at myself, I didn't hate what I saw. I'm my naturally kind of a hermit, if you will. I spend a lot of time alone. I like being alone. It's not that I don't like other people or I don't want to be around other people. I just rarely run into people that I feel connected to. Like they're having the same conversation, they're thinking along the same lines, they're doing things, whatever it is, it's bringing positivity to the world. Artists, musicians, they're my kind of people. And dangerous people are my kind of people. It's like I have the polar opposite of friends because, on the one hand, artists, musicians to me represent love, right? On the other hand, dangerous people represent chaos. Love and chaos go hand in hand. Destruction in life, death in life, all of it's the same. It's all energy. And these people are strong on one polar side of it. Strong, like willing to, like, they're not like this in this middle and they can't even, they're just but they're all the way into fucking one of the you can't call it north or south because to think north or south, think good or bad or evil or I don't do all those things. In isolation, I think it's beautiful when someone's perfect chaos. And I think it's beautiful when someone's perfect order. I think it's beautiful when someone's willing to fucking just destroy the world. I'm sorry. I think it's beautiful. It's like watching a thunderstorm or tornado rip apart. I'm sorry your house got burnt down. Did you see how beautiful it was to watch that fucking tornado go through? It's all the same energy to me. It's with intent. Dangerous people only prey on people that are weak and are asking to be preyed upon. You can say whatever you want, but if you put yourself in a situation with a dangerous person where they take advantage of you, you chose to be in that situation. You say, "Oh, I didn't know." You made a decision somewhere along the way in your life path where that person can now take advantage of you because you are exactly what fuels that fire. And you can say, "Oh, I hate evil people." What are you doing hanging out with them? What are you doing shady shit in the dark that they know about? And then you're acting like you're a good person. No, poor woe is me. The whole time you were at that party that one night, remember? And everybody ran a train on you because you're a dirty, rotten son of a bitch, but now you're part of God? Well, maybe you gave up that lifestyle. How come those evil people still have any control over your life then? If you weren't doing nothing wrong. Isolation to me, although in a roundabout way of talking about it, is being able to discern yourself, to look at yourself, to talk with yourself. How, if you're interacting and being a reaction to other things, can you ever be the action in your own life? That's the question I posed to you. How do you expect through filling your life through external things that internally you'll ever be balanced or happy? Isolation is important. So I'm going to teach you how to do it. It's really easy. You go to the store, right? If people care about you in your life, this will be easy. If people don't care about you in your life, see one of the other videos. You're going to have to figure it out. You got some steps to take. There's nothing I can do to change your scenario. I can only tell you that this should be relatively easy for each and every human to accomplish. And if you're in another country, I get it. But third world countries, it's easier to get isolated, like actually isolated, than it is in a what we consider first world. I think tribes in Africa got first world. I think America's a third world country. I think Dubai is a second world country because, or you know what I mean? Like, there's a sliding scale. The more nature there is, I think the higher the society, not the opposite. But you just get earplugs. There's 75 cents at the store. You can even spange if you have to. You go get earplugs. This is going to blow your mind. You find a spot, family, friends, all that, okay, fine. But all of them should respect this. You should make this apparent, make it boundary. Let them know I need this. It's only 15 minutes. You can't do music. Sorry. I know music made I don't care. That's part of the problem. You just go put earplugs in and you sit for 15 minutes. You just think. I don't care what you think about. I don't care. Just start thinking. Start an open dialogue. Be like, just sit there and be like, this is dumb. There's your first thought, your first inner dialogue. Congratulations, you did it. Just start talking to yourself. Me, I have an open dialogue with myself 24/7. I wake up thinking about things that I was dreaming about. Then I get done with those, and then I got to go right into the morning ideas. And then it just keeps on going. And sometimes I'm going backwards, sometimes I'm going forwards. It doesn't cause me any discomfort. I enjoy learning. And a lot of things is reflection to learn something better, right? I enter new input all the time, but then I have to reflect on the new input or it's worthless. And then it all comes from taking the time to talk to yourself, to think about things. And so if you're following my weird philosophy, if you're attempting to do this, which takes 61 days for each and every lesson, so you can do them all together if you can remember them all at the same time. It only takes 61 days to finish this whole thing. Or by the time I get done making videos, it could take a whole year of 61 days for each episode. I don't know. It's a sliding scale. Everyone's going to, some of these you guys already knew 100%. And just by me talking about them, you already knew it. And now you're using it. And it's really easy because you were already aware of this. And so it just goes forward. You see how that works? But 61 days of 15 minutes every day of sitting by yourself and thinking about things, I guarantee your life will be 1,000% better. 1,000%. And even if you think it's 1,000% worse because all of a sudden all this crazy shit is happening to you, it's because you're winning. Remember, I made a video just very recently about the universe has a schedule. And if you suddenly want to deal with your bullshit, it's going to throw all your bullshit at you right now. Oh, you want to deal with this? Yes, I do. Fuck, this hurts. I'm dealing with it. Because the universe wants you to live your best life. It wants you to have the best experience you've ever had. It wants you to dream the impossible and then live it. Because that is possible. And if it is possible, why would you not? So maybe I should have made the isolation video way back a long time ago. Maybe even before the river meditation. But I'm doing these in the order that I see them. And I think that if you made it all the way here and you watched all the videos, which none of you have yet, then at this point, one of your biggest frustrations would probably be trying to figure out how to capture this mindset and how to practice this mindset. And it was to me really simple, but maybe to you, you were like, what am I supposed to do in life? And it's 15 minutes with earplugs. The only sound you hear is in your heart beating, and you have to sit there with it. And even if you just want to cuss me out in your head for 15 minutes, you spent 15 minutes thinking about something that wasn't your life that you're stressing over. And you're winning. Congratulations. It's that simple. I want you to win.